Hey all, how you doing? It's me, Steve, host of Nocturnal Frequency Radio. And if you were here earlier, you're watching the documentary Chasing Shadows, and what was up there was the raw footage that was edited. I shot that in oh yeah, as you can see, like I got a sunburn. I had a bandana on yesterday and it was really sunny and yeah, it's hilarious. I can open up the top of my dome there. It's weird. Hey, user one, how are you? Yeah, so I shot that between 2007 and 2009, and that's only a portion of what was shot. That was probably wow. I'd say not even a quarter of the footage I have that I didn't use for that documentary. I mean, there's just so much craziness that I am going to include in a new documentary coming up called Chasing Shadows 2. That was inventive. But hey, keeping things linear, I guess, if you will. Um, I don't know. I had fun doing that, shooting that, uh, and as you can see, lots of research and investigation and findings. There was a lot of findings over the years, and still. But some of the more notorious findings were captured during those investigations that were displayed in that documentary that I played here, Chasing Shadows. Once again, that was shot between 2007 to 2009. I edited it and completed it late. I believe it was September, early October. I completed it and premiered it at a convention conference in August of the following year, I believe it was. Or no, it was, yeah, I don't know. The Pan Am conference in Sarnia, Ontario, it premiered. So yeah, interesting. Like I said, some of those locations, of course, a lot of the information there is dated. A lot has changed in the oh god, almost 20 years now. Not quite, but 15 years that a lot of that was shot. Um, one location that wasn't included in there because we had not started uh, uh, quite yet was a very notorious location called Spruce Lane Farmhouse, which you've heard me mention and show you some stuff that's been captured from there. That's going to be a part of the new documentary that's going to be completed soon, hopefully. Like I said, we're still working on the dark wood lot that is going to be hopefully completed sometime in October. Cross your fingers. I'm really looking forward to getting that out and completed for all you guys. Um, so you can look for that. That's going to premiere here on our YouTube channel, and that's something you can expect here over the coming weeks during our hiatus. I think to keep our YouTube channel active because we don't do any live shows here until September, with live guests and stuff like that, until September when we come back with season 15. So, I mean, obviously, we'll pop in here once in a while, do an open mic sort of thing. Excuse me, and we're gonna start showing material, uploading material to the channel, so you guys can all watch to keep you guys sort of interested with the channel. Uh, Seeing that we don't have any new shows coming up until September. Well, I shouldn't say that. We do have one coming up in August. We're going to do a tribute to our good friend Gareth Davies of the Mindset Podcast and Paratalk Podcast, who sadly lost his life last August. And hey, Della, how are you? It's good to see you. It's been a long time. Hope you are well. Um, yeah. So once again, that is happening August 5th, I believe. We're going to be doing that. And but up until then, we'll probably be playing some material, not new material, but material. Um, yeah, yeah. Well, it's been a while since I've heard your voice too, Dallas. So it'd be nice. Uh, but you know, a lot of the material that we're gonna upload, like I'm going to have some new material uploaded, but there's going to be a lot of older material that just hasn't gotten out there, or just hasn't gotten the sort of exposure we'd like. So like I said, I just showed Chasing Shadows here, and it's been playing on Vimo, and it's got quite a lot of views and stuff like that. But I figured I'd bring it over here to YouTube and let you guys see it in case you haven't seen it. Once again, that's a documentary from 2009 on several uh, reported haunted locations, if you will, and getting our take on them. A couple of the locations are locations that never have been investigated for paranormal activity ever before, until we investigated them. And again, the reason why we investigated them was because of the history. There's a lot of oddities about the history of some of these locations. So we decided to give it a go and see what kind of response, if you will, that we would get from them. And of course, we've gotten quite a bit from Deforest. Deforest, as you've seen if you watched it, the documentary, is a unique little pioneer cemetery that for years laid in ruins, almost abandoned, pretty much abandoned. The city did little to upkeep it. A lot of the stones were weathered, missing, uh, cracked, destroyed. Standing up on the side of the fence, the small barrier along separating the cemetery from the old DeForest home. In the documentary, I had mentioned that it was still standing. It's now gone. Sadly, they demoed it, and some, I don't know, some billionaire, Korean billionaire, or some shit like that, built a new home on it, a mansion. It's just a really really tragic story. Um, yes, Della, we were trying to organize a fundraiser, and in fact, David was going to speak at it via uh, Skype at the time. But unfortunately, another sad thing was the response was just very, very little. There's very little tickets sold. And you know what? The lineup that we had coming, including David for a Skype live stream interview, sort of talk discussion with David, um, just that it wasn't enough, unfortunately, and it's really too bad because I think that would have been really something spectacular. Um, and but the light that well, it did see a very positive light from the ashes of that um, uh, fundraiser that dropped to the wayside is in fact the Loyalist Society of Ontario saw the work that we were doing at DeForest and seeing that we were trying to raise money to have it renovated. And of course, the city wasn't really going to fit the bill. So they came forward and they fitted the bill and they completely resurrected the forest from the ashes. And when you go up there now, it's absolutely beautiful. It's stunning. Um, they were able to find all the stones and have new ones made and repaired and situated properly, placed properly in the cemetery. Not all of them, unfortunately. There is they have to get ground penetrating radar, I believe, to figure out just how many more bodies are buried there that didn't have markers, which is sad. And not to mention, most of those that are buried there at DeForest are in fact children, because of the influenza and smallpox outbreaks during the early years of the DeForest family and Campbell family and surrounding families in that direct area that migrated from the U.S. DeForest, I believe, was the only family that I know of that migrated from the U.S. Because they were loyalists. They were loyal to England. And as you know, a lot of them fled the U.S. Uh, you know, just before the War of 1812, and after the War of 1812, and afterwards, they fled. The American sort of uprising of the U.S. sort of thing. So, um, yeah. Um, Again, DeForest is it's a lot different today than it was when that documentary was filmed. Like I said, it's been completely resurrected, which is awesome. So, we got to thank the Loyalist Society of Ontario for fitting the bill and getting the work done and getting that sort of scenario not put to bed, but fixed, if you will. Um, so that's really great. Another location in there is Waverly Hills Sanitarium. Again, at one point was considered the Disneyland of paranormal investigating, of the paranormal world, if you will, like the epicenter. Everybody wanted to go to Waverly Hills um, to investigate it. When we went there, it was a lot. I think it was a lot sooner before the explosion of popularity. Just before we managed to get in there, thanks to a good friend of mine, we got to go in there and investigate it. And it was a unique experience. Again, because of all the hype there and a lot of the stories and a lot of the locals will feed you with all sorts of stuff, and it's really really hard to keep um, a level head investigating a place like that when you have people all around you just chirping and telling you, oh, aspects of what you got to look for. And obviously one of the biggest stories is Timmy, a boy that apparently perished there. uh, during the years of it being a tuberculosis hospital. Um, I don't know if anyone's ever actually looked into the if that's true or not. I don't know. I'm sure someone has, and I do believe hearing something before stating that in fact there was a boy named Timmy that did perish there. But you got to take everything that you hear about a place like that with this grain of salt. You really do, including all the stories and hype and everything else about it. But all that aside, we did manage to capture a few intriguing elements there, including the movement of the ball that we had as a trigger item in a room. We had it set up on a quarter and a chalk circle around it. And of course, every time we checked on it, it looked like it hadn't moved. But in fact, when we looked at the security cam footage, you can actually see the ball moving playfully, and then, when somebody would come walk by the room, whatever, it'd stop. And the crazy thing about it is, in fact, the ball in the end rolled back on top of the quarter and stayed there. It was the craziest thing I'd ever experienced. One of them, anyways. I've witnessed a lot, but that was one of them. And of course, uh, an EVP of what we seem to think, or a lot of people seem to think, is Timmy reaching out and saying something, and that's included in the documentary. And of course, that was captured on two separate recorders at the same time, and there's slightly different variations when you listen to them. You can hear the EVP differently. It's really weird. And one thing I've never done, and I think I need to really do, is put the two together and see or hear what they're like together, to see if we can sort of make out exactly what's being said in the latter half of the recording, because you can somewhat clearly hear what he's saying in the beginning, the response to the question. It's an intelligent response. It's evident that it's an intelligent response, which is really, really unique. But it's what came afterwards that really was intriguing and is hard to make out. So, is it two separate voices, or is it the same voice? I don't know. It's hard to tell. But after hearing it so many different times, it sounds like, in fact, there are two voices playing out there, two separate voices. So, yes, Della, I will definitely put them together and make it available for everyone to check out. And another place that another location featured in the documentary is the Tremaine House. Again, this is just an old abandoned farmhouse. There's plenty of them out there, but why this one? Why is this one, haunted? We didn't go into this house in the beginning anticipating it was haunted. No. Um, and really the reason why I gravitated to it was, I was just looking for some old farmhouses to take some photos of, to shoot some stock footage. And um, and I just walked up to the front porch, because I was really intrigued with this location. Hey again, Tim. I walked up to this location. I said, "Wow, this is, oh man, this is awesome. This is I love this place. Um, and I wanted to take some shots, and I wanted to get permission in doing so. So I went up to the front porch, and the grass was long, and I'm like, okay, is this place actually lived in? I saw farm equipment in the equipment barn, so I was assuming that they were still living there. So went up to the front porch, walked up the stairs, and went to go knock on the front door. And as I opened the screen door and I looked in the door, there was no curtains, there was no furniture, nothing in the house. So I'm like, oh, okay, maybe nobody's living here. So I knocked, and of course nobody answered. Said, okay, well maybe I'll just take some pictures. There's nobody here to say no. I mean, uh, so I walked around, and I walked to the back of the house, and there's like a pantry addition to the house in the back, and the door in the documentary that you saw us walking in, I found it ajar. It was open, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go in. I went in, announced myself, said hello. Is anybody here? Nothing. All I could hear was the fire alarm. There was a couple fire alarms that the batteries had been dying. And when you hear when a battery's dying in a fire alarm, the fire alarm beeps, you know. So that's all I could hear was that beep. And it echoed throughout the house. So I'm like, there's nothing in this house. So I'm gonna go in and take some photos. I went in, took some photos, and of course I got my recorder just in case. And I went upstairs to the bedroom level. And this farmhouse was absolutely beautiful. Still in relatively great shape. Just some weathering. Um, and it had two adjacent. Uh, okay, well they go the other way. So going towards the back of the house. So you had the front stairway, and then you had the back stairway. The front stairway was right at the front of the house where the porch was. You open that door and bang, there's the stairway. You go up there, and then underneath it on the back end, going up from the kitchen is the back stairwell. Beautiful. So anyways, I went upstairs, and I'm shooting some photos, and all of a sudden I see this. I hear this thing moving around in the attic, and I'm like, oh shit, there's some big animal up there or something. I don't know. And as I'm walking around, this thing's like it senses me, and it's like kind of following me because I can hear it sort of like dragging on in the attic floor. And I'm like, is that an animal? Because it's an awfully smart animal. And so I started walking around looking for the attic's doorway hatch sort of thing. And I found it in the one room, and thankfully there was a board over it. So, but as I'm standing there, you could tell whatever was up in the attic was just right there on the other side of that board. Was it an animal? I don't know, but if it was a very heavy animal. A big raccoon? I don't know. Could have been human, could have been a squatter. I have no idea. But why would the squatter? Well, I shouldn't say why would the squatter be up there. Hey, look, if somebody's looking for a place to live, hey, could have been, might have been, or is it something else? I don't know. But anyways, I was taking some audio from the back room. There's like at the back of the house. There's like this back bathroom, and off to the side is another room. And just something about that room, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna record something here. I'm just gonna take a small audio sort of thing, and I recorded it, and well, I took it home, and when I went home, and I went through the audio, and all I could hear is this uh what sounded like this growling evil voice going, get out, like that. I'm like, what the fuck? And of course, I didn't hear that real time when I was there. I mean, if I had heard that, I probably would have been, right the fuck out of there. I would have been gone. But I didn't hear it until I listened to the audio. And right there and then I said, okay, this place has got a very unique history to it. I want to know more about the history. And hey, Rick, how are you? And so we did some background research on the house. So the house was and still is owned by a railroad company, and they had been leasing it out for years. And upon further research, I had found out that there was two females, two women who committed suicide there. One of them in the horse barn, and the other one on the top of the TV antenna on top of the house, on the roof of the house. And two separate times, we're talking about 20-30 year difference between this happening. But I mean, still, um, the first one was from the TV antenna, and the second one was from the again from a beam in the horse barn. And in fact, when I went into the barn for the very first time, you could still see the caution tape, the police tape in there. So I mean, that was just pretty freaky. And I said, okay, well, look at I have to find a way to get permission to come in here and investigate it. And most people would just say, oh, let's just go in and do it. But that's not the way I roll. That's not the way we roll. And what I did was, I found the person who took care of the property, farmer across the street, who was taking care of the farm. He was plowing the fields and so on, just looking after it. And I went up and I asked him, flat out, I said, look, I'm a part of a paranormal investigative group, and I did a little bit of research on the house across the street, and I, believe that it warrants, or it could use an investigation. Is it possible that we go in and carry out an investigation? You don't have to worry about anything being destroyed. We're not there to look to destroy it or vandalize or anything like that. We just want to go in there and take some audio samples and take some video and some other readings upon other things, and just gather some information. And he was like, "Oh yeah, absolutely, yeah, no problem. Go ahead." And so that was the beginning of about 5 or 6 years of going into that house and investigating it. And I tell you, in the beginning, um, everyone who would go in there for the first time had this really, really odd feeling about it. Just something very foreboding. And again, that could be just obviously psychosomatic. Just look at, we're going into this old abandoned farmhouse that, and I very rarely told people about the history. I just wanted to hear what people would get, sort of, especially those with psychic abilities. People can read into the energy of the house and so on. I wanted to hear what they would come up with before divulging any of that information. And it's funny. Well, it's not funny, but my co-host, Alex, who on the radio show here, he went in for the very first time because we did a little episode of Nocturnal Night Shots, which you can find here on the YouTube channel, the Nocturnal Night Shots playlist there. You can see it there, where Alex explains about his really weird and foreboding experience in one of the rooms that he was in during our time there. And absolutely, Dell, yes, the proper way. Like I said, with too many issues and problems that have happened in the past, not necessarily with us, but with other locations and whatnot. It just, yeah, I very rarely divulge. I've had a lot of people ask me, how how to get to a location. In fact, I've had people threaten me, and that's if I could find the email somewhere, I'd show you those emails, just how threatening some of these people can really get. They're like literally yelling in the email, like everything's capitalized. There's no lowercase lettering wording at all. It's all capitalized, and the spelling. I thought I was a bad speller, but this guy was horrible. And unfortunately, he finally found how to get to one of the locations, and he published it on his website. And when the moment he did that, all hell broke loose. And one location absolutely was not demolished but devastated. And again, and we sort of touch upon it in the documentary Chasing Shadows. And once again, you can watch it. I played it here live earlier. It's now in the archives, and you can watch it. So, hey Terry, how are you? Good to see you, brother. Long time. So yeah, if you have time, check out the documentary. It's there. Again, it was shot in 2000 and between 2007 2009, and it was finished in 2009, and it premiered at the Can-Am Paracon in 2009 in Sarnia, Ontario. And it's been playing on Vimeo ever since. But like I said, I figured I'd bring it over here to our channel here on YouTube. Oh, is it raining down there in London? Not raining here, but I'm sure it's only a matter of time before it starts. And I'm smoking some ribs, so I got to go out soon anyways and check on them. But I just thought I'd pop in here and say a few words about the documentary and what to look forward to. In fact, tonight maybe, perhaps, I don't know, maybe we might do an open mic tonight here on the channel. So if you guys are around, stop on by. Just keep an eye on your notifications, because we may do that, because we're trying. Yeah, me too, Terry, especially smoked ribs. So good. Especially notifications. Check on them, because I will post it soon, hopefully. And would love to see a lot of you later on and get your takes. If you guys watch the documentary or not, even so, just any questions about it, whatever, or just stop in. Love to hear your thoughts about it. Anything, as per usual. Until then, guys, take care. Enjoy the documentary. Again, it's in archives. It played earlier. Please like and subscribe to the channel. Leave your comments, and we absolutely thank all of you guys who have already subscribed and liked and left your comments. Thank you once again. Continuously keep it up, because we love you all, and can't wait for season 15. Take care, guys. Have a good one.